I-Beam is now a 40-second cooldown on the PTR and beta. A bunch of other changes have happened as well to Havoc, Demon Hunter, so let's talk about them. Before we begin, I just like to say that a lot of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you're seeing my videos often or you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. We just passed 700 subscribers. I really appreciate all the support, but let's see how high we can get. I really appreciate everybody who subscribes to the videos, watches them, leaves a like and leaves a comment. You know, it's a great feeling seeing all the support and everything, so I really appreciate it, and thank you. Now, enjoy the video. Alright, so I'm here on the PTR today. There is no new beta build yet this week. It's supposed to be coming later this week. Hopefully, you know, we'll see some cool stuff with that. But with what we actually have new trees for Demon Hunter. We have a new class tree slightly, very minor changes. And we have some pretty big changes to the Havoc tree in general. So I know that in the intro, I kind of buried the lead a little bit. I-Beam is a 40-second cooldown now. I will talk about that towards the end because I think it's one of the more impactful ones. Before that, we'll get into some of the smaller changes. So one of the changes in the class tree actually comes to the Misery and Defeat thing. So this talent in the last update, I didn't cover it because I forgot about it. But basically what it did is it made every target that got hit by Misery take 10% increased damage from all sources for 5 seconds. They changed it. It's now you yourself deal 20% increased damage to all of them for 5 seconds. Good change, you know, gives us the damage instead of everybody else getting the damage. I'm fine with this. 20% as a decent enough damage amp. I haven't tested it out. I don't know if it needs to actually give them the fear. I'm assuming it does because it says whenever the effect on them ends. But for now, you know, that's whatever. On to the spec tree. The spec tree has much more significant changes, and we're going to talk about the first one they covered in the video the other day, which is the removal of Fell Bomb. So Moarg Bionics is moved down here. Thoroglaive deals 25% increased damage for each enemy hit in the place of Fell Bomb. Now, this used to be up here, and we've seen a little bit of a reshuffling up here. So Dancing with Fate used to be in the middle here. This was moved down and has now made 2 points, which is very fine because you don't have to... It still effectively was 2 points before. It's just also much easier to path into now. You're always going to take Dancing with Fate, so this basically frees up a talent point in the top because you don't need to take these things anymore, which I think is a great deal. I think it's a really good thing there. Us getting an extra talent point means maybe we take Follow After Another Walk now, so I think that's a really good change overall. In its place, we also saw a little bit of shuffling around here. Fellfire Heart was swapped, made 1 talent point. That's fine, you know, it's in line with the other Burning Hatred talent. Probably take that in AoE. Might not take it in single target because you probably won't be ending up taking all these Immolation Aura talents. But again, good change. And then down into Furious Throws. This is the new talent that we talked about. Throw Glaive now costs 25 Fury, throws a second glaive at the target. So basically 25 Fury, but it doubles your Throw Glaive damage. Again, I think this is fine. It can have use in AoE, especially you know, if you eventually retreat away or if you're away from targets for a bit. Throwing out 2 glaives, getting the glaive damage from Auric Bionic, getting the application of Burning Wound, and then getting the Soul Rain dot on them can be pretty good damage, especially because we have a fair bit of Fury in AoE, what with Blade Dance having a cooldown on it, and, you know, I-Beam not having much value. Not I-Beam, sorry. Chaos Strike not having as much value because we were not going to be reducing our I-Beams as much. So you have this Fury to spend, so spending it on Thorglaive to double the damage and throw out more is a good trade in my opinion. Of course, we also have the effect that that Demon's Bite and Thorglaive leave the open wounds for Burning Wound, which is great. We have the ability that Metamorphosis is baseline 4 minutes, and then makes it by 3 minutes with Rush of Chaos, and then also Demonic Origins is in. All good stuff I've covered. So there was one more pretty big tree change, actually, in terms of structuring, and that comes with the swap of Chaotic Transformation and Furious Gaze. Now, this is actually really good because you can actually get down into these things down here without taking Chaotic Transformation. So beforehand, Chaotic Transformation sat here and basically gatekept all these talents here under that talent. Chaotic Transformation is not very strong as its point. Pretty much every 3 minutes you get 1 extra Blade Dance and 1 extra I-Beam. It's fine. I think it should be baked into the ability baseline. You know, Metamorphosis already isn't that powerful as it is. Making us invest a talent point here kind of sucks. Especially now that it's locking behind Looks Can Kill. However, Looks Can Kill isn't too big of a deal, right? Looks Can Kill loses a lot of value as we go higher gear levels, especially with the fact that we want to be stacking critical strikes as much as we can. So realistically, this isn't too big of a deal. I still think Chaos Transformation should be removed and replaced with something else entirely. You know, and Fierce Gaze being down here isn't too bad anyways. It makes you feel a lot better getting Cycle of Hatred and a lot better getting Shattered Destiny. So that's fine. There were some slight buffs to Inner Demon, I believe. But again, nothing too big of a deal. You can kind of just come down through Blind Fury to get into here now, which you'll do in a single target build that looks somewhat like this. The other big changes actually come to momentum. So momentum has been nerfed. It is 10% and lasts for 5 seconds as opposed to 12% for 6 seconds. I think this is good. You know, I love momentum. I think momentum's really fun, personally. You know, but I know a lot of people don't like it. I ran that poll, the poll on my community page, and a lot of people ended up not liking momentum. I think that's fair, and I think that's valid. So I think this change here makes it much less necessary, especially the fact that you can just take Chaos Theory to get down into here. Momentum will probably still end up being fairly strong, especially just because where it is for a 1-point node, it's pretty decent. But this change does rein in the power a little bit and makes it much less necessary for everybody to take. So I think this is a great change overall. You know, nerfs always do suck, but I do think this needed to happen. It was very centralizing and very polarizing, so here we are. Another change happened down in Shattered Destiny. This one makes sense. So basically, instead of when this talent first came out, it was 0.1 seconds per 5 Fury. Then it went to per 6 Fury, and now it's per 7 Fury spent. Again, I think that's good. I was going to do a video on kind of the dominance of a demonic and meta uptime, and I still might do that. We'll see how these changes go over. But pretty much what was happening here is that you could feasibly achieve 100% meta uptime or get incredibly long meta windows with how the talent was before, which was really centralizing. Them taking Metamorphosis and making a 3-minute cooldown meant that you could probably have near permanent uptime of Demonic. I keep saying Demonic, sorry. Metamorphosis, especially with the Demonic Origins buff to get 10% versatility. This will make it a little bit harder, you know, make you lean into haste a little bit more. I think this is a fine change for the kind of the health of the spec and health of the talent trees here. Again, with momentum, I think it's a good change for health-wise. And balancing reasons, so I think that's fine. I don't think it's too big of a change. It still works the same way. You still prioritize the same stuff, just a little bit weaker, which is fine. Now, the big change that, honestly, a bit of a shock to me when I first saw it. It's going to be a bit of a shock to everybody who's seeing this video, I know. I-Beam is now a 40-second cooldown. 40 seconds. That's a lot. So, 40 seconds is a significant amount of time. It's 10 seconds longer than how it was before. Now, I will say the damage has been increased, relatively to how it was before. So it's going to do more chaos damage over time for the 40 seconds than it did before. But this is pretty big. So it now lines up with with Essence Break, which is interesting. We wanted them to line up before. It was weird they were desynced. No one wanted I-Beam to increase by 40 seconds, of course. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what happened. So these line up now, which is interesting and makes your burst feel much better because you don't have to hold anything. With the new 40-second cooldown on I-Beam, you're going to be getting about 25 seconds from Cycle of Hatred. 25 seconds as the cooldown, so you'll get 15 seconds off. Which will put it back down to around how it was before. Pre to this nerf, but doing the same damage, which is okay. Now, I think actually that while the I-Beam change to 40 seconds does kind of come off as pretty bad and pretty, why Blizzard would you do this, which, gut reaction that does feel that way. This is probably for the best overall. I-Beam as a spell itself isn't too powerful. It's not too impactful. Getting the Fury is really nice. Getting the damage it deals, especially with it being capped after 5 now, is good. However, the big reason that I-Beam at 30 seconds probably wasn't going to stick around for much longer is due to just kind of demonic uptime. Demonic uptime as Havoc was really powerful, but in kind of the ways that you don't want your class to be. It was powerful in kind of a sustained kind of way. Having a lot of this demonic and metamorphosis uptime kind of made it so that we couldn't have that strong of a power gain from demonic or metamorphosis because we have it all over instead of just kind of in short windows, right? Like when you want a cooldown, you want it to be bursty, right? You want that damage up front loaded for a short period of time. You don't want a lower power gain over a big period of time. It's just not going to be good to how bosses are designed, how encounters are designed. It's not going to be conducive to being successful in an M+ environment because you're going to be going from pack to pack all the time. You won't be able to kind of gain a benefit from this burst. So that was kind of the product with demonic. I'll probably be doing a video on it later in the week when I'm not working as much. I'm working for the next few days, so I'll be a little busy. But this change also reduces the power level of demonic, which is good. Puts it more in line with demonic origins. Now, again, I wish that this isn't how they did it. But, it's probably for the best for the health of the class. Because demonic was very centralizing, right? It's like you kind of had to do it. Now, I still think it's going to be really good. However, there are now cases where demonic origins might end up being better. I still think it might need a little bit of buffs. But, c'est la vie. That's how it is. Metamorphosis, sorry, I-beam is a 40-second cooldown now, and we are all going to be living in this new world. Now, I will say, it does feel better linking it up with Essence Break, much less confusing on what like order you want to do things in, because I-beam is a sort of cooldown, and cooldowns don't line up. I wish they did it a separate way, but, you know, doing it this way is acceptable. I think it's okay. So quick recap, you know, all those changes from before I mentioned are in. They swapped Cow Transformation with Furious Gaze. Momentum has been nerfed slightly, making it less of a pick. You've gained a few tile points in here because you can kind of skip this node here, and you don't need to go down here. So we have a few extra points before unlocking the bottom gate, meaning that we can actually maybe grab our Netherwalk or our Fell Eruption, etc. And then, of course, the big I-beam changes coming through. So that's it for this week for our talent tree updates. You know, give feedback to the Demon Hunter devs and everything. How do you feel about this? You know, unsure if this tree is better than last week's tree. I don't personally feel it is. I do think that we've have had some steps back, and we do feel a little bit weaker. But overall, I think in the long term, these will be healthy changes for the class overall. So thanks for watching the video, guys. You know, if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. Really helps me out. Pushing to 1,000, hitting 1,000 would be a big dream. And again, you know, leave a like, comment down below what you think about these changes. You know, my reaction to the I-beam was one of actual shock, but thinking about it, you know, maybe it's not for the end of the world, and eventually we're all going to get used to it. But yeah, that's how it is for now. So thanks for watching, everyone. I really, you know, hope you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate all the support, and I will see you guys next time.